From the stars to our soul, it's worth more than all the gold. Native strength. It's time for another Native Strength short. There is a wheel about learning from our losses. And I've done some shorts about this wheel. And this is about a teaching I did on one of my Native Strength full-length episodes. So I've been discussing the different steps on this medicine wheel, and the third step was how losing can refine our character, and I basically meant that it builds character rather, that it helps us to learn how to lose gracefully. But there's another dimension to that, and that's our next step, the fourth step, and that takes us to the east on this medicine wheel. And that is refining our character from our losses. And that means learning how to look at our loss and realize how we can improve things in the future so that our odds are greater that we don't lose, that we actually are successful in whatever endeavor we might be trying to accomplish. One of the most important things is to remember that all battles are really with ourself. So what we're doing is we're learning how to refine our reactions to our losses so that we don't go from being all upset and blown out of the water to what did I do wrong and beating ourselves up and feeling like we got the raw end of the deal or that things weren't fair, and then eventually evolving to finding the victory in our loss. But rather, we go immediately from that loss to that positive victory of learning how to see this as a win, an opportunity to refine our ability to react in a positive way. So I want to share this little short excerpt with you. The fourth step is in the east. We must realize that all battles are really with the self. How we look at things and approach life is part of the battle and will go on until the day we die. Our only competition is with ourselves. It's ridiculous to compare ourselves to someone with different genetics, opportunities, and life experiences. So whether we want to or not, we are still in the game of life, competing with ourselves to be the best we can be. That's why this step is in the east. When you realize this, you have gained enlightenment. The fourth step of assuming self-authority is learning from loss refines our character. When we haven't done our best, we use that experience to learn and grow. We don't let our fear-feeder voices verbally berate us. We let our loving elders gently point out what we can do next time. In the center is the key. Remember, the center stands for the catalyst, the energy to change. We must never underestimate the enemy. And who is the enemy? Ourselves. Our mind will play tricks on us in many ways. To see reality for what it is and act in a way that isn't detrimental to ourselves or others is not as easy as it sounds. The fifth step is constructive criticism empowers. So when we put these two together, we understand our inner elders must use constructive criticism against our natural desire to take the easy way out for us to change and grow. When we're on the circle of losing, we're learning how to lose with authority. This is not only good sportsmanship, but also not beating ourselves up with our inner dialogue. We don't say to ourselves, "No wonder you didn't get the promotion. You're always late with projects and you're hard to work with." Instead, we could say, If we turn our projects in on time and are more supportive of our coworkers, we'd probably have a better chance of getting the next promotion. We can do this. This is what I mean about using positive, constructive criticism to empower ourselves. We can change our reality. It just may take a little time and work. So as you just saw, the center of this wheel on this teaching of learning a victory from our losses is the ability to change, the catalyst energy to change. And that's very tricky sometimes. This is where those fear feeder voices like to disguise themselves as our inner elders. They like to make us think they're giving us wise advice, but it's disguised. It's really trying to undermine our self-esteem. And it's all in how it's phrased. It's in the wording that is used. If the words that are used make you feel bad about yourself, if they cut you down rather than building you up, then you know that's your fear feeder voices. But if these words are encouraging, loving, and kind, and not condescending, then you know they're actually your inner elders. And so you can give that a little more weight. In my next short, I'm going to be talking about how there's an inner army, and our inner elders are part of that inner army, so to speak. These are voices in our head, like our inner male and female elders, that carry more weight than our fear feeders. Those are obvious ones. But as we get further on this path, and we learn to recognize these fear feeder voices, they realize that. And they learn to disguise themselves and get tricky. And their favorite trick is to disguise themselves as our inner elders. So there are ways that we can unlock this mystery and find out who's really giving us advice here. And is this advice we should follow or ignore? And if we follow the advice, it might be good advice, but it might be given to us with a grain of salt. That little bit of condescending tone of voice or rhetoric that makes us feel bad about ourselves, like we're not good enough, like we did something wrong, rather than we're making a progressive step down our path. We weren't perfect. Nobody is. And we're learning, and that's okay. And our inner elders are there to help us with a helping hand, to pull us up and give us support and love, rather than to say, look what you did. That's why. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. Instead of saying what you didn't do, they will tell you what you did do and what you can do to make it a little easier next time for you. So I hope this helps you on your path and turning your losses into victories. Thank you for watching.
From the stars to our soul, it's worth more than all the gold.